I've been running numbers my whole life. Tax returns, balance sheets, profit margins. I can look at a column of figures and tell you in 30 seconds where the money is bleeding out. It's just how my brain works. So when something in my own house stopped adding up, I noticed. Maybe not right away, but I noticed. Daisy and I had been married for 2 years, together for 5. We rented a house in Oregon. Nothing fancy, a decent 2-bedroom off the highway, surrounded by Douglas firs that blocked most of the daylight. She liked it that way. Said it felt cozy. I paid the rent every month, covered utilities, groceries, car insurance, everything. Her artisan shop online brought in maybe $700 on a good month. Dried flower arrangements, resin pieces, that kind of thing. I never made an issue. I figured we were building towards something. That was the plan anyway. The plan was to get out of that rental, buy something, start a family, grow the accounting firm I'd built from scratch into something worth leaving behind. Small steps. I'd done it before. Started with nothing, one client at a time, until I had an office and a staff and a list of regulars who trusted me with their books. I wasn't rich, but I was solid, steady, the kind of man who shows up. That night started like most nights. I came home, heated up whatever was left in the fridge, sat on the couch for a while. By the time I showered, Daisy was already in bed. I could see the blue glow under the bedroom door before I even touched the handle. I walked in. She didn't look up, thumb moving fast across the screen, deep in her feed. I turned off the lamp on my side, got in quietly. I lay there for a few minutes, and then I tried. Nothing aggressive, just a hand on her shoulder. She was turned away from me, facing the wall. I moved my hand slowly down her arm. She grabbed my wrist. Not tonight, Logan. No eye contact. Just those 3 words, flat and automatic, like she'd already rehearsed them before I even touched her. I pulled my hand back. Daisy, talk to me. What's going on? Nothing's going on. I pushed you hard at the gym today. My lower back is really hurting. Can we just sleep? We'll try tomorrow. Okay. 3rd time in a row. 3rd night with a different excuse. Before that it was a headache. Before that it was stress from a shipment she'd messed up. There was always something ready to go. The thing about being an accountant is that you don't just track numbers, you track patterns. And I've been watching a pattern form for weeks without letting myself say what it was. The way she'd shift when I tried to kiss her goodbye in the morning. The way full conversations had been replaced with one-word answers. The way she lit up looking at her phone and went completely flat the moment she put it down and looked at me. I knew what distance looked like. I'd seen it in plenty of marriages that weren't mine, in the numbers, in the joint accounts that stopped making sense, in the questions clients didn't ask directly but meant when they called about separating their finances. I just never expected to be on this side of it. I didn't say anything else. I lay there until her breathing slowed and she was asleep, phone still loosely in her hand. Then I looked over at the shelf across the room. 3 miniature cars, barely visible in the dark. A '69 Mustang, a '67 Chevelle, a '57 Thunderbird. My dad gave me the Thunderbird the year before he died. Said it was the car a man bought when he finally figured out what he wanted from life. I always thought I had it figured out. Maybe I was wrong about that. By the time I was up, she was already at her work table, working on a resin piece. I made 2 cups of coffee and set one next to her without a word. She thanked me without looking up. I grabbed my keys and said I'd be back around 7 o'clock. She didn't ask about dinner. I sat in my car for a minute before pulling out. I'm not a man who panics. I'm not a man who assumes the worst before he has something in front of him. But I'm also not a man who ignores a ledger that doesn't balance. Something wasn't adding up, and I was going to find out exactly where the number went. I didn't go looking for trouble. I want to make that clear. I'm not the type to dig through someone's phone or run surveillance on my own wife. That's not who I am. But I'm the type to notice things, and once I start noticing, I can't stop. It's the same instinct that makes me good at what I do. You don't find errors by looking at the big picture. You find them in the details. The next few days, I kept things normal on the surface. Came home at the usual time, made conversation when she offered it, didn't push anything at night. I was watching her behavior. On the 4th day, I opened Instagram on my own phone. I followed her account. We'd never actually followed each other, which I realized in that moment was strange for 2 people who lived in the same house. Her profile had changed. The photos she used to have of the 2 of us, a couple from our trip to the coast, one from a barbecue at her sister's place, gone. All of them. The grid was just her now. Solo shots. Most of them taken at the gym or in the bathroom mirror. She looked good in them. That wasn't the issue. The issue was the posing, the angles. She was presenting herself to someone. I scrolled down slowly. The likes on her recent posts were consistent. Same handful of accounts showing up again and again. One in particular caught my attention. Username J_Callaway28. Every photo. Sometimes a comment. On the most recent one, a mirror shot in gym clothes, he'd left a small red heart. That was 3 days ago. I clicked the profile. Jacob Calloway, 28 years old. His feed was all gym content. Workout videos, protein shakes, the kind of posts that exist to be seen. In one of the photos, I could make out the logo on the wall behind him. Same gym Daisy went to. 3 times a week, she told me. Said it helped with her anxiety. I sat with that for a moment. Then I closed the app, set my phone on the desk, and leaned back in my chair. One of my employees knocked and asked about a client file. I told him to leave it on the table by the door. He said okay and left. I didn't have proof of anything yet. A guy liking your wife's photos isn't proof. A red heart emoji is not evidence. I knew that, but I also knew that numbers don't lie, and the numbers here were pointing in one direction. 5 rejections in a row at home. A scrubbed Instagram. A younger man showing consistent interest. A wife who'd stopped looking at me the way she used to. That's a pattern. I finished the workday, locked up the office, and drove home. Daisy was on the couch when I walked in, phone in hand, legs curled under her. She glanced up, said hey, looked back down. I said hey back, made myself a small pour from a bottle of Blanton's I kept in the cabinet. A single malt my dad had introduced me to years ago, back when he was still around a share glass. I stood at the kitchen counter and drank it slow. She didn't ask how my day was. I looked at her from across the room. She was laughing at something on her phone, a quiet little laugh, the kind she used to give me. And I made a decision right there, standing in my own kitchen with a glass of bourbon I was too distracted to fully taste. I was going to find out exactly what was going on. That night I got into bed, turned off my lamp, and went to sleep. Didn't touch her. Didn't say anything. Daisy stayed on her phone for a while. At some point, she set it down and shifted toward my side of the bed. A few seconds of silence, then. You're not going to try anything tonight? No, I'm tired. Go to sleep. Are you okay? You seem off. I'm fine, Daisy. She picked the phone back up. I closed my eyes. The next 2 mornings went the same. Coffee, minimal conversation, I left early. She started watching me a little differently. I noticed that. Not saying anything, just watching. I kept my face neutral and my routine tight. On the 3rd morning, I briefed Marcus before 8 o'clock. He's my most senior guy, knows every client, every open file, every difficult account holder who needs to be handled carefully. I told him he was running things for the day and to call only if something was genuinely broken. He said sure and didn't push it. That's one of the things I appreciate about him. I stopped at a drive-thru on the way, ate in the car, and was parked half a block from the gym by 10:50. I left the radio off, just sat there and waited. She pulled in at 11:04. White Civic, parked near the entrance. Grabbed her bag off the back seat, checked her hair in the mirror before getting out. Then she went inside. I gave it 8 minutes. Then I pulled my cap down, got out, and walked in behind her. The gym wasn't packed. Late morning on a weekday, maybe 20 people spread across the floor. I went straight to the cardio section in the back, picked a machine with a clear view of the free weights area, and got on it. Kept the speed low. I wasn't there to work out. Jacob was already over there. I recognized him from his Instagram. Taller in person, the kind of build that doesn't happen by accident. He saw Daisy the second she came around the corner. Lifted his chin at her. She smiled back. Not a polite smile, the kind she'd put on before walking out the door. They trained together the whole session. Side by side on most exercises, spotting each other on a few. At one point, he stepped in behind her on a cable row, one hand on her shoulder, adjusting her position. She didn't step away. They talked between every set, full conversations, not just gym talk. She laughed a lot. Her hand touched his forearm twice. The second time, she left it there longer before pulling back. I had my phone out the whole time, angled low toward the floor, recording in short clips. When they finished, they walked out together toward the parking lot. I followed from a distance and stopped near the entrance doors. In the lot, they stood by her car, talked for a few minutes, nothing I could hear. Then he pulled her in, both arms full hold, the kind of hug that has nothing to do with being friends. When they separated, she kissed him, quick, but she was the one who leaned in. I got all of it on video. I walked back to my car and drove straight to the office. The afternoon was normal, 2 client calls, a tax filing, some back and forth with Marcus on a new account we picked up the week before. I didn't watch the video again at any point. I'd seen what I needed to see the first time. I got home around 6:30, made dinner, nothing elaborate, pasta, and some leftover chicken. Daisy came out of the bedroom, sat at the table, ate maybe a third of what was on her plate, and said she wasn't that hungry. She went back to the bedroom before I'd finished. I heard the door close, then the sound of her phone, a video probably from the audio that leaked under the door. I cleaned up the kitchen, dried everything, put it away, poured a small measure of Blanton's, and sat down on the couch. The three miniatures on the shelf caught the light from the lamp across the room. The Mustang, the Chevelle, the Thunderbird. I'd had those since before I met her, before any of this. I finished the glass, rinsed it in the sink, and went to the bedroom closet. I reached up to the top shelf and pulled down the two large duffel bags I kept. There, set them on the floor, side by side, open. I didn't pack anything that night, but they were there. And the next time she walked through that front door after seeing Jacob, I was going to be ready. The next morning, after she left for the gym, I packed both duffel bags, my clothes, my documents, my passport, the bottle of Blanton's that was still half full, and every single one of the miniatures, wrapped in T-shirts so they wouldn't knock around. The Thunderbird I packed last. I zipped both bags, set them by the front door, and sat down on the couch to wait. She got home at 12:43. I heard her key in the lock, the door swinging open, the sound of her dropping her gym bag in the hallway the way she always did. Never hung it up, always dropped it right there by the wall. She came around the corner into the living room and stopped when she saw me sitting there, still in my coat, both bags by the door. Hey, you're home early. I took the morning off. She looked at the duffel bags by the door, then back at me. What's going on? Sit down, Daisy. Logan, you're scaring me. What is this? Sit down. She sat on the edge of the armchair across from me, still in her gym clothes, hair pulled back. She set her water bottle on the coffee table and folded her hands in her lap. I put my phone on the table, screen up, and hit play. The clip was 40 seconds, the two of them walking out of the gym together, standing by her car, the hug, and then the kiss clear as anything. She watched the whole thing without moving. When it ended, I picked the phone back up. Where did you get that? Were you following me? Yes. You followed me? You went behind my back. That is a violation of my privacy. You had no right. Keep going. There is nothing going on. He's a friend. We trained together. That kiss meant nothing. It was just, Daisy stopped. I've been sleeping next to you for 5 years. I know what a goodbye between friends looks like. That's not what that was. She looked at the floor, didn't say anything for a few seconds. Then she tried a different direction. Okay, I got close to him. I know how it looks, but nothing happened between us. Nothing. I swear to you. Logan, I love you. This is our marriage. You can't just, I'm filing for divorce. What? I've already spoken to an attorney. I have a video. I have screenshots going back 6 weeks. I have enough. Logan, please, we can work through this. I made a mistake and stop. She went quiet. You didn't make a mistake. You made a decision. Every morning you drove to that gym, you made a decision. Every time you turned away from me at night, you made a decision. Don't call it a mistake because you got caught. I don't. I can't pay the rent on my own. You know that. I can't afford this place without you. Call Jacob. Let him cover it. Are you serious right now? I'm very serious. That's his problem now, not mine. I stood up, picked up both duffel bags, and looped them over my shoulders. She got up from the chair. Logan, wait, please. Can we talk about this? Can you just put the bags down and talk to me for 5 minutes? I walked to the door, opened it, and turned back once. I'm going to be at the office. My attorney will be in touch about next steps. Don't come there, Daisy. I put the bags in the trunk, got in the car, and drove. Just the road and the Douglas firs on either side of the highway and the flat gray Oregon sky. I got to the office at 1:15. Marcus was wrapping up a call at his desk. He looked up when I came in with the bags, glanced at them once, and looked back at his screen. That's what I mean when I say I appreciate that man. I carried the bags to the back room, storage mostly, but there was a couch, a small bathroom, a mini fridge. I'd slept there before on long deadline nights. It wasn't a bedroom, but it would do. The divorce took about 4 months from start to finish. She didn't contest it. With the video and everything else, it was settled. There's a woman at the front asking for you. She says she knows you. She's not really taking no for an answer. Before I could say anything, Daisy pushed past her into the doorway. She looked different, thinner. The gym clothes and the carefully posed photos felt like a different era. She stood there breathing fast, like she'd been holding the speech together on the drive over, and it was all coming out now. Logan, I know you don't want to see me. I know, but I didn't know where else to go. Jacob took everything. He took my money and he disappeared, and I lost the apartment, and I'm at my mother's and I have nothing. I have nothing, and it's my fault, and I know that. I know it's my fault, and I'm not here to ask you to take me back. I didn't know what else to do. She stopped, waiting. I leaned back in my chair and looked at her for a moment. I'm glad you figured out what he was. You need to go, Daisy. Logan, Claire will walk you out. She didn't say anything else. Claire stepped in and guided her back toward the front. I heard the door to the office open and close. Outside the window, the sky was clear, no firs blocking the light, just open sky all the way to the horizon. And that's how our story ends today. But what about you? What did you think? In my view, Logan did the right thing. Even without knowing for certain how far things went between Daisy and Jacob, there was no room for reconciliation here. The truth is, she probably didn't go further with him simply because she hadn't had enough time. Logan moved fast, stayed sharp, and didn't wait around for things to get worse. The way I see it, Daisy was keeping Jacob around like a trophy, something that made her feel younger, more desired. She knew, somewhere in the back of her mind, that he couldn't give her the stability she already had. So she kept the mask on for as long as she could, until Logan pulled it off himself. And then came the real lesson. All that vanity, all that excitement about feeling young and attractive again. It collapsed the moment Jacob turned out to be exactly what he was. An opportunist who took the little she had left and disappeared without looking back. So yeah, she got what she deserved. But here's the question I want to leave with you. Would you have given her a second chance? What would you have done in his position? Let's get that conversation going in the comments below. If you enjoyed today's story, don't forget to leave a like. It helps more than you think. And if you're new here, welcome. Stick around. There's plenty more where this came from. See you in the next one.